Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome out to another episode of According to Kaz and Queen. And as always, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And this is this little podcast of ours. These are conversations that happen between a husband and wife in the privacy of our own home that we bring to you guys. Sometimes to make you laugh, sometimes to make you think. But as always, to be introspective, to open up the lines of communication. We are coming to you from the spot where most of those conversations take place. The grand majority of those conversations take place, and we're sharing them with you, and we appreciate all you guys who have continued to support and tuned in and checked out what we have to say. All right, we really appreciate you guys. Of course, we're on all streaming services. We're on all social media platforms. Follow us. All of that should be scrolling across the screen right now. And of course, we are on Black with No Chaser Radio. All you got to do is download the Black with No Chaser app, all right? Go to the iTunes store, the Google Play Store, download the BWNC Radio app, and you can check us out there along with a lot of other fantastic Black podcasts, all right? Of course, we are on YouTube. You know what to do. When I do my fingers like bam, like this right here, somewhere up in here, you'll see it on the screen. YouTube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin, YouTube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin, all together. You'll see it on the screen. Make sure you go and subscribe to that channel. Subscribe and make sure you click on the bell so you can turn on those notifications and you can get all of the content that comes along with that channel. According to Kaz and Queen, Good Things Jackson Show, a lot of great stuff. Debate night is coming up. We got a special treat for y'all. Y'all got to make sure that y'all tune in on next week. We got a special treat. We got the whole debate night crew is going to be joining us here on According to Kaz and Queen. We're going back to the place where it all started, to the Synergy Link content room, Podcast Academy. We're going to go in there because that's the only place that could fit this whole crew in there. We're going to be doing it, and we're going to have them in there, man. We're going to give y'all a taste of what y'all can get on debate night, November 24th. Jackson, Mississippi is the first city. Jackson, Mississippi's first live, interactive, in-person social experience with libations, music, grown folks talk. All right, some real grown folks talk, man. We're gonna be coming to you. We're gonna be doing our thing live on stage along with the vibe controllers, Melanie Sanders, Pia, got DJ Nasty Show. It's gonna be on the ones and twos all night. We got Eddie Wright's Barbecue is gonna be there, and from Hulu's Searching for Soul Food, we've got Chef Jarita Fraser King is going to be in the house, and she's going to be serving some of her signature appetizers during the happy hour from 8 to 9. A lot of good stuff going on. Y'all make sure y'all come in there and check it out. And of course, this is brought to you by the Kundi Collection. www.kundicollective.com. I have on one of the shirts right here, representing for the crib.
Finally.
And my beautiful bride has one on too. Finally helping to peddle the merch on the podcast here. Heel is available at www.kundicollective.com. Jackson AF. Y'all know what that means. Jackson as fuck, because that's what I am. That's what we are. Make sure you go check it out, man. We got a lot of designs, man, to represent your blackness and represent your love for Mississippi and your love for Jackson, Mississippi. If that's something that, you are into. All right. So make sure you're doing that. We're coming to you on the heels of voting today, as a matter of fact, November the 7th, big election here in the state of Mississippi. I don't know what's happening for you guys in other places, but we were voting on a governor today, and a lot of other, political races were hotly contested, but it's very important that, for me to go to the polls today. My beautiful bride went to the polls today. We sometimes have I guess diametrically opposed views.
I love that word, by the way.
Diametrically opposed?
Oh my God. I love it.
Diametrically opposed views to getting up sometimes and going to the booth. I think it's very important. I think it's very important that we exercise the right to vote, especially in Mississippi, having been under the oppressive reign of the tater tot for the last 4 years. Going in today, I had a renewed sense of vigor because I actually felt like I was voting for something important and wasn't just going through the motions. I actually felt like I had the power today to help to affect change in Mississippi. We talk about change in Mississippi all the time, and today was one of those days that I felt like I could be a part of changing the narrative and changing the future of this state by voting in a a new governor. But there are a lot of people who are still apathetic about voting, a lot of people who are complacent, a lot of people who are cynical about voting. We run into those people, all the time. But for you, in this particular instance, because, you and I have talked about this, it's no, surprise. This happens with a lot of people. There's a lot of times where, fatigue has set in with voting and the process of voting and who to vote for and the issues. And some people don't stay attuned to the issues as much as other people. But in this particular instance, what motivated you this time in saying, okay, I got to make sure that I'm here above all other times? I need to exercise my right to vote today.
The governor race.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
That was it for me. I am probably a cynical voter, maybe apathetic. I don't operate in the system, period. So, getting up to vote means that I have to come outside of where I normally operate to buy into a system that I don't believe in. So voting is challenging for me. I do vote, but if I'm honest, the reason why I vote is because I grew up with a father who was a freedom fighter, and one of the things that he did in his life was to participate in voter rights, and he was very active. So I do it to honor him directly, but also the other hundreds of thousands of ancestors who died so that we'd be able to have the right to vote. So I respect the right to vote, but it does not necessarily make me on board for the system that we're voting for. So that is, a challenge for me. But this race, this governor race, is so important.
Yes.
That, I have to get back to my personal views about it later. It's sufficient enough for me to put that to the side to make sure that my vote counts towards Tater Tot not being in office any longer. What happens after him, I don't know. Will it be better? I don't know. But for the sake of my own personal peace and satisfaction, I had to be able to contribute to that.
A lot of people say that, things don't change and that there's a lot of evidence of things not changing. People, I've seen memes and I've seen people make the comments before about, here's a picture of my neighborhood and this is what it looked like when George Bush was in office. And here's a picture of my neighborhood. This is what it looked like when Obama was in office. And this is what it looked like when Trump was in office, and the neighborhood didn't change. And they use that as fuel to say that voting doesn't matter because for the little person, not a lot is going to change at the end of the day. And I have to push back on that a little bit because, the people who are looking to do ill will to us, who are looking to do ill to us, who are looking to take this country in the wrong direction, they profit from people staying at home. They thrive off people staying at home. That apathy that exists, whether it's in the Black community or whether it's in the young voting community, that apathy that exists allows us situations where we end up with a Donald Trump. It allows us for situations where we end up with a Tate Reeves because people are just really cynical about the idea of going to vote. But if you're going to actually change anything in your community, in any facet, on whatever level, whether it be a cursory level or even deeper than that, you have to participate in the process.
Well, the system is not designed for us to win or to even see any sort of righteousness happen. It's not even designed for Black people. It was created in a way to oppress Black people. So underneath all of that, while I totally agree with you, underneath all of that is still the bottom line. Even if we get people in office, their hands are tied to what we can see as betterment for us. So, and then I think that the system is flawed, just, innately flawed, but definitely flawed in favor of all that is not Black, all that is not female, and definitely all that is not Black female. So, yeah, I don't really, I do believe that if we are not going to vote as a people, if we are not going to vote, then we need another strategic action to replace the voting. I mean, it can't be that we are not doing anything. Something has to happen.
Something has to happen.
So if it ain't voting, which I'm not saying it's not, but if it's not voting, then what else is there? What else are we going to do? Revolution? Because if it's revolution, I'm with it. But we can't just sit around and complain and not do anything. We got to do something. Mm-hmm. So I'm not with sitting back doing nothing, but I'm also anti-system.
And I wouldn't say that I'm pro-system. I think we agree on that facet, but I do know that there has to be some action item that comes along with us, pushing forward. We can't have everybody having this fatigue and having this apathy and not voting, because that's not working. A lot of times you got to look at it like this. What exists right now, to get the people in office that we want to get in the office, to try to get change, the system that exists is voting and voting them in office. Until we change that system, then, if we actually want to get somebody in there that we can hope will change the paradigm for Black folk in this country, we're going to have to actually go to the polls and vote. We saw what happened when, people had the fatigue and people stayed at home after, Obama. We got Donald Trump. We had an invigorated Republican base, an invigorated conservative base, an invigorated racist base that went to the polls, and they spoke at the polls, and we ended up with 4 years of Donald Trump because of it. We don't need that to happen again. We don't need that to happen in Mississippi. And I hope everybody that's, watching us tonight, I hope, everybody went and voted. I hope everybody exercised their right to vote. Now's not the time to get into a discussion about the semantics of whether or not your vote counts. Let's get somebody in there that's, at least, going to listen to other viewpoints and, try to bring some things on board.
Well, first we got to identify those people.
Yeah, that's true.
And, one of the things that we don't do, and I really don't like having these conversations, but one of the things that we don't do is groom and train. And we need to be doing that. So if we had the system, if we unified, and educated on how this does affect us, so that there is no apathy to the thought process of this ain't got nothing to do with me. If we could eliminate that thought process and make people understand how it does, plus train people to be able to get into office and make a change, to, support, understand what they're doing there, first of all, and not just run because they want a check or they want to be on TV or they popular, whatever the reason. We need to be operating in the same way that Republicans operate. So they know who they're going to be running for 10, 15 years, maybe 20. Every election, we trying to figure out who we're going to put up there.
Yeah.
So there are some systematic issues that we need to actually put some emphasis on and to put into and most of all is, educate the voter on how this does influence our lives, and, get back that fire that our mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers had about we deserve equality, we deserve our voice counted, we deserve to make a difference in this country, we deserve to make a difference in this city, in this state, like our voices do matter. So that has to happen. But fundamentally, the system is flawed and it's designed to oppress Black people.
Yeah, so if you're watching this right now, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, the polls are closed. The results will be coming in. We're going to see, what those results are as they happen. You were talking about grooming and training. That was something that happened a lot during the Civil Rights movement. There was grooming, there was training, and not saying that it's not happening now in this sense, but you don't see a lot of grooming and training because we have a lot of folks who have gotten these positions and they've got a death grip on it.
That is so true.
Just looking at what happened with the Democratic Party here in Mississippi, and then having to remove the guy that had been the head of the Democratic Party for so long, because he sent an email to a younger guy and told him that, I'm in charge, I know more than you, I've been doing this, you need to take a seat, blah, 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 blah. Just the attitude that permeates in leadership, and not just black leadership, that, I got mine, and when I'm done with it or I die, then at that point you can step into the place. There's not a lot of grooming, not a lot of training taking place, and that's why there's not a lot of young people who are very enthusiastic about getting involved in politics, especially now in the social media age. It's crazy. But on whatever,
vote.
Yes, whatever side of the spectrum, vote when it's time to vote. Shouts out to everybody that voted today. Glad that you did. Hope the results are in our favor, and make sure that you are listening to candidates who actually are talking about issues that deal with you. One of the things that I thought was very pertinent in this election is that Brandon Presley was talking about things that affect people. He was talking about Medicaid. He was talking about Medicare. He was talking about, teacher salaries. He was talking about the cost of living. He was talking about jobs. He was talking about tangible things that affect everyday people, while Tate Reeves, of course, was doing what conservatives usually do, and they were talking about pie in the sky things. He was talking about protect the border. He was talking about don't let your kids have sex change operations. He was talking about critical race theory. He was talking about all kinds of, pie in the sky theories that don't really affect the everyday life of people.
Of black people.
Of black people.
Because the people he were talking to cared about what he was talking about.
The evangelical side of that, and pushing the religion and honing in on, we're a religious state and we do this and we do that. That works to a certain degree, but those things don't affect my everyday life. I am amazed at the number of black folks that I see now when I'm on social media, especially when I'm on Twitter. The black folks that are concerned with and talk about protect the borders. We got to protect the borders. Like, it's not a hot button topic for me. I don't care about immigrants trying to come into this country and make a better life for themselves in America. I don't care about that. I mean, America is barely fucking with black folk. So, why in the world would you be concerned about other immigrants? This country was built on immigrants. The first people who settled here were immigrants. People who came to this country from all over the world and were on a boat and saw the Statue of Liberty when they came into this country. They were immigrants. And I'm amazed at the number of black folk that I see talking about protect the border, the border, the border, the border. And they're way inland. I don't understand. Like, I give zero thoughts and care nothing about immigrants coming into this country. It is so far removed from what's important to me. What's important to me is my family being able to have health care and affordable health care and not going broke because my wife or my daughter have to go to the doctor. That's important to me. Getting jobs so that my daughter, when she turns 18, is not so apt to get on the first thing smoking out of Mississippi and leave. Those things are important. So you should be listening to people who are talking about those issues at the end of the day. So anyway.
I want to take a moment out to shout out people that I know who are out here doing grunt work. Underground,
mm-hmm.
Campaigning, canvassing,
mm-hmm.
trying to get people involved,
mm-hmm.
sitting on porches, having
mm-hmm.
conversations,
mm-hmm.
voter registration drives, things of that nature. Kudos to you guys for understanding the system and understanding our place or lack of place in it and doing the work to get us on board. I know some of you who are tirelessly working, and kudos to you and thank you for doing that, because that is what it's going to take. It's going to take small conversations,
mm-hmm.
sitting on people's porches, getting them out the house because they are not engaged in politics and the goings on, and you're doing that. So
mm-hmm.
kudos to you for doing that.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work.
I won't call names because I'm sure I'll miss somebody, but you know who you are. Thank you.
Yeah, all over the country. Anybody that's watching this, if you are out passing out flyers, you canvassing, you're going door to door, you're answering phones, you sending emails, you calling people, you're texting people on the phone, and people are not always receptive when you call them and text them. But, you know.
I just need like one text a week leading up to it. You guys are texting like 7 times a day. And by the time I get to like the 5th time, I don't read it anymore.
But, you know, believing in something so strongly that you do that at the risk of, you know, running into those people, I think that's good. I think we need people that you believe in so strongly that you do that. Speaking
sure.
in believing in things so strongly.
I believe I can fly.
You if that's what you believe. Go right ahead. But speaking of things that, you know, people believe in strongly, you know, you used to live in Atlanta. I think you were in Atlanta probably in what a lot of people would call the golden era of the ATL. But, you know, one of the things that, you know, people like to paint in the narrative, oh, I'm going to go to Atlanta and I'm going to make my way in the world, and I'm going to go over there and I'm going to eat and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You know, I'm going to eat, I'm going to party, I'm going to make my life better. It is the promised land. And, you know, this past week, it was kind of interesting to see, for those of you that have not been following Keith Lee. Keith Lee is a guy on the internet that goes and does reviews of restaurants and products. A very mild-mannered guy. He got popular all of a sudden because, I guess, because of his delivery. He holds his hands like this when he's doing his review, and he gives his review, you know, very slowly and deliberately. Really nice guy, and he went viral and started getting popular just because he was just so nice in giving these reviews. And of course, as things happen in this day and age, his reviews started to go viral and his reviews started to carry weight. And he was going around and he was doing reviews of restaurants. Well, him and his family ended up going to Atlanta and going to a couple of the restaurants in Atlanta, and he gave some reviews. And buddy, let me tell you, the reviews were not that favorable, and they were the reviews of some restaurants that were run by some popular people and some celebrities. And the shit hit the fan over the course of the week. He went into Old Lady Gang that is run by Candy Burris of Escape and Real Housewives of Atlanta fame. And then he went into the Real Milk and Honey. There's apparently more than one Milk and Honey. He went into 2 of these restaurants, and I guess what people discovered, as I said, you know, on Twitter and on my post on Facebook, is that you can't eat vibes. You can't eat vibes. You can't digest them. And a lot of Atlanta restaurants, as a lot of Atlanta clubs and a lot of Atlanta stuff, period, it survives and thrives off of just vibes. People like to go so they can vibe. People want to go to Old Lady Gang because they might see Candy or her husband or her mother come out of the kitchen or come into the restaurant. Or people go to the Real Milk and Honey because you might be rubbing elbows with one of the Atlanta Falcons or one of the socialites or one of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. While you're in there doing that, you're getting bad service and average food. And Keith Lee went in and experienced some of that bad service. As a matter of fact, it was some people that had been in there waiting for close to an hour. Keith Lee walked in with his family. They were about to seat Keith Lee and not this family that was sitting there. And he said, no, they were here before us. Seat them. And not only did that happen, you know, he got some mediocre food and some bad service at all these places. And a lot of people were mad. And there was some backlash, of course, as it is when people criticize black businesses. But, you know, I found great solace. I was enjoying watching the rest of the world and people who, you know, laud being in Atlanta. I was, you know, finding solace in people finally discovering that most people go to Atlanta and visit Atlanta and frequent Atlanta things, venues and places and events because they want to go to be seen and they want to go to get vibes, and there's absolutely zero substance to it. And I don't know how the food tastes in Old Lady Gang. I'm sure a lot of people have given it great reviews just because they hope that Candy saw it and they could
She
be
did
friends
see
with
it.
Candy.
She responded to it.
And she saw it. But, you know, the people before Keith Lee ever even came, I wonder how many people actually went to Old Lady Gang and said that the food wasn't good, and how many went to Old Lady Gang and knew the food wasn't good and knew the service wasn't good and came out and gave them a glowing review because you wanted to be friends with Candy. I wonder. But at any rate, you know, you are a former resident of Atlanta, and you are one of the people who will instantly, at any moment, terrorize the server. Terrorize. My wife will terrorize a server.
That is horrible.
That is the word. For them, for the server, terrorize is probably the perfect word for me. Just sitting there silently in abject fear of what these servers and these waiters and waitresses have to go through. I'm absolutely positive, folks. In fact, I know for a fact there's 100% chance that at some point that I've been out with my wife, I know that somebody has spit in our food. I know it. There's 100% chance that our food has been spit in, that somebody has stepped on it. It's a possibility that we've had our toast wiped up the crack of somebody's ass at a restaurant. I'm absolutely positive that it's happened. I didn't know it. I didn't taste it in the food. But because of the terror that my wife has caused in restaurants with servers, I'm pretty sure that has happened. So for you, seeing these reviews of these restaurants and being, you know, you are a customer service person, you know, what are your thoughts on Atlanta and the restaurants and the venues and the vibes?
ATLians are a proud bunch, and they hold
to a fault almost.
Hold a city down.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have a problem with that. I wish Jackson was more like that, actually.
Like what?
More hold your city down.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know, I'm with that. I don't necessarily know if vibes is not like you're saying. You go to a restaurant. What's wrong with going to a restaurant for the vibe? I don't really have an issue with that. Like, some people are going for the vibe. So if they're going for the vibe, they expect the food not to be great. You know, they might even expect the customer service not to be great. If the vibe is great.
What do you expect when you go to a restaurant?
When I go to a restaurant, I expect to have good food and good service. That's what I expect.
It's A and B.
The vibe is also important, but it does not supersede the experience with the food and the customer service. I can even deal with food being a little mediocre if the customer service is supreme.
Customer service above all else.
Customer service is very high on the list for me.
Is it the highest? Is it number one?
If the customer service is okay, that's, you know, fine. If it's stellar, I'm in. I'm a winner. Everything else can go bad if the customer service is absolutely spectacular. But the customer service kind of depends on each individual, because what I need from the person who is seeing to me serving my table may be different from what you need. Clearly, because my husband will order something, and if it comes back wrong, he'll still eat it. That's absurd. If I order something, it depends
on how wrong it is.
If I order something and it's wrong in any capacity, you're going to take it back and bring it back to me correct. That's just what it is.
And let me say this. It's fair if there is an egregious error in your meal when it comes back.
Egregious meaning I ordered chicken and you brought me fish? That's egregious?
Well, that's an obvious.
What's
take
egregious?
This back. I order a turkey burger, I got cheese, I want mushrooms on it, and I want some grilled onions. And then I get the turkey burger back, and the grilled onions are on there, but the mushrooms are not there. I'm not going to send that back because the mushrooms
I ain't going to send it back either, but I'm going to ask you to bring me my mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I have the right to that. I ordered what I wanted.
You very well
and
have
I'm
the
paying
right.
for it.
You're paying for it.
So give me what I ordered. Now, if the person who I say this to catches an attitude or, visibly gives me funkiness, it's a wrap. It's nothing else is going to go good for me in that experience. So it is very important that I have a cheerful, happy, engaging server. However, not too cheerful, not too happy, and don't come too much. So, if I'm involved in a conversation and you keep coming back, now you're distracting me from what I'm here for.
So now they got to figure out a healthy...
It's now compromised. A good server, yes, will figure that out.
So they got to figure out a healthy median.
That's their job.
I don't want to go over there too much,
yes,
but I want to make sure I go over there enough.
Yes,
in addition to them waiting on the other table.
I am not here to see you. I came here to be with whoever it is that I'm with. If I'm by myself, you can come as many times as you want to. But don't let my drink sit here empty too long. But don't come before I empty the cup.
Y'all see what I have to deal with? And this is every time we go out.
It's not every time. It's every time somebody messes up my order.
Yes, that's what I mean. Every time we go out, there is the potential that somebody could mess up the order. Doesn't happen every time. If they get the order correct, if they get the order right, we have a great experience.
I can take the order being wrong if it's a nice, friendly, engaging, happy. I like to see smiles. I like to be engaged. I like to, talk to the person and they talk to me. And I that can make all the difference in the world.
I'm very... And I guess this is me. I'm very sympathetic to, restaurant workers, postal workers, UPS guys, people that do the grunt work and do the jobs that a lot of people won't do. Waiting on tables is a thankless job. And you run into people who are being assholes, and you run into people who are being assholes for no reason. So I'm just sympathetic because I know for a fact, and it's probably why I have not worked those jobs before. I know for a fact that if you keep asking me to come back and forth with shit after I done brought it to the table, I know for a fact that I'm finna put the whole heel of my shoe in your food, and I'm gonna bring it back to you. If I gotta go back and forth 2 or 3 times,
yeah,
bring
you don't
it to
need
you.
that job then.
I don't need it.
Because you need to write the order down and make sure the people get the order in the back. Make sure they get it right. It ain't your job to check the people food, but if you bring it to the table and I say, excuse me, I ordered mushrooms. There are no mushrooms on here. Do you mind bringing them back? I am well within my rights to do that.
Yeah.
I don't see why that is an issue.
I'm not going to say that you're not.
The attitude, the person who is providing the service should have some training on how to deal with me without. And I'm not saying I am not rude to the people unless they catch an attitude. Hmm. I simply just make sure that I get what I paid for.
What's your definition of rude?
If I have to,
You just did that. You did the hand.
If I have to get them together, that they done gave me something and energy is off and it's conflicting with me.
Which is easier for some people than it is for others.
If I'm presenting a welcoming, engaging energy, I expect reciprocity.
And that's fair at the end of the day.
If I got a shitty attitude with somebody and they get shitty back, I expect it. So there's not even no problem. But if I'm giving you warmth and pleases and thank yous and all of that, I don't expect no attitude back. Match my energy.
We have different levels of tolerance. I think that is clear. One of the things
absolutely.
that we have discovered in this marriage. We got way different levels of tolerance. It has to be absolutely egregious, and a line has to be crossed. Saying something crazy, a look, just completely being incompetent with what you're doing. And then at that point,
well, what about the times when you be like, okay, baby, you handle it?
That's when I got something that I really want, and I want the taste to be like it is, or the experience to be like it is.
Why
and then I will absolutely sick you on the waiter. I will sick you on the manager. I will sick you on anybody. You are my attack dog when I'm in the restaurants. I will absolutely do that. I will. In particular
I be
instances.
sitting on ready too. I be ready.
I know you do.
I be ready,
and
baby,
there have been
you should
instances.
not have to eat anything that you paying for just because they brought it.
There have been instances where I have turned you loose.
Mm-hmm.
There have been. I will admit that. And those were extenuating circumstances where, you know, I just needed you to give them the energy that I needed to give them. That I was not willing to give them, I guess. I needed them to get, you know, some of the extra rude energy is what I call it. I just call it rude energy.
It's not rude.
When I needed to be rude and crass, I tell you, baby, get this together.
Is it crass though, really?
I
think you're throwing a lot of words out there.
I'm throwing a lot of words out there, but I'm just telling you, you have to be in my shoes
accurate
when we're at the table and I'm watching this unfold.
Well, that's your own thing. That's a you thing. Yeah, that's a you thing. Because I could be at the table with a bunch of other people who don't take it that way.
They're probably waiter bullies as well.
I'm not a waiter bully.
I'm gonna call it a waiter.
I'm not a waiter bully.
Waiter bully.
I am a frugal person who wants what I pay for, and I don't feel like that's too much to ask.
That's fair.
They only get the harshness when I am met with resistance.
And resistance is, it sounds like we're scripting a Star Wars movie here. When you say resistance, resistance is what?
You know, just catching an attitude because I'm not happy with what you brought me. If I can visibly see you catch an attitude or turn into some negative energy, and a lot of these people I know gonna give it to me when I walk up on them. I can read their energy when I walk up on them. They don't want to be there. You shouldn't be. If you don't want to be here, you are inevitably going to have bad customer service at some point in that day. So if you don't want to be here, you know, get yourself together, woo-saw, whatever you need to do, or maybe consider trying something else. Because I'm not the problem. I present with, this is what I ordered. Can I get what I ordered? And it's not a bad thing to be able to do that. And most people with customer service experience understands that sometimes things happen and people don't get what they ordered. And they are trained to go back there and do what they have to do and come back and apologize. And that's that. I had a whole run-in with a very popular place in Jackson who messed up everything. It was 4 people at the table. They messed up every single thing. We actually ended up pitying the poor waitress because she was completely thrown off. There was nothing negative. Her energy never got bad. Nothing. We paid for our food. They brought us our money back because she let us pay for it, and we shouldn't have paid for it because they messed it up so badly. And I think they told her, don't charge us. But she was so rattled at the fact that she couldn't get it right. We ended up offering her support. So it's not always cut and dry. I'm not a waiter bully. I'm not, hating on customer service people. I just want what I pay for. And I want the experience. If I come in there expecting a particular type of experience, the waitress or waiter is a part of that experience. They are a part of the vibe. And sometimes people go out for the vibe. I want the vibe.
You can't eat vibes.
Who says that? Okay, but maybe I'm not coming there to eat. I'm coming for the vibe.
We'll go to a club. I mean, what kind of vibe? If you go into a restaurant for some vibes, what are you trying to get?
You know how many restaurants have good drinks, right? Mm-hmm. But not necessarily good food. Okay. After I get enough drinks in me, I'm going to want the food. Who cares what it tastes like? So the vibe and the drinks is what I came for. I'm ordering food just because I'm now coating my stomach. So it just depends on what you out for. In Atlanta, the vibe is imperative. People go out for the vibe. I'm not saying that excusing bad customer service, and I'm not saying that the food shouldn't be good. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you're going for the vibe and you catching that vibe, then that's what it is. It's not wrong to go out for the vibe. You just go out for food and customer service or whatever you go out for.
To a restaurant, I'm going to eat and drink. Possibly.
Me too. But there are people who go out for the vibe.
And I'm not gonna go to a restaurant because a celebrity owns the restaurant so I can be seen at the restaurant. I'm going for, I'm just a substance person. It irks me when people go to these places and take these pictures and you're going to this restaurant because it's owned by a certain person. You don't even know if this person even knows how to run a restaurant properly. And then when you go in the restaurant and the service is bad and the food is mediocre, you're still going because you like this celebrity, or there's a chance that you might see this celebrity.
So if Jay-Z bought a 40/40 club up to Jackson, I would absolutely be in there every chance I get, hoping that I saw Jay-Z.
But you're not.
I don't know that.
The chances of you seeing Jay-Z,
the chances of those folks running up on Candy or Ty or anybody at Old Lady Gang are high.
Yes, very high.
Or any of her friends.
Very high.
And she got a plethora of celebrity friends. Any of them could be in there at any moment. If that's what they're going for, then that's what they're going for. That may not be what you're going for, but that's what they're going for, then that's what they're going for. That's why they opened up the restaurant, because they know people are going to want to come in there and see them. Food is not the top priority for them.
I'll give you an example. When Sweetie Pies was open in Jackson, I didn't go to Sweetie Pies because I was expecting to see the owner. What's her name? I guess we call her Sweetie Pie. I didn't go on Sweetie Pies expecting to see Sweetie Pie or any of the people from the show. The food was damn good. They were there occasionally. She was here in Jackson and hung around in Jackson for a long time, and even her son, that I think got arrested and is going to jail now, I think he was even here for a while. So the people that were on that show were here, but I didn't go in Sweetie Pies because I was expecting to see the people from the show Sweetie Pies in the show. We went to the Duck Dynasty.
You didn't even watch the show,
I didn't. We went to the Duck Dynasty headquarters in Monroe, Louisiana. Went in there. I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, I was hoping to maybe see one of them.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I was hoping to see at least one of them in there. I'm going to say that. So, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. But, we were sightseeing. There was a lot of people there. We took our pictures. It was cool. They wasn't there. So, I get it, and I understand the premise when it's somebody that's tangible that you can possibly see at the end of the day. But that was a sightseeing venture. That wasn't me going to sit down and eat. When I sit down and eat, I want to be sustained, and I want to get full, and I want the food to taste good. And when I leave there, I don't want to leave and 10 minutes later be hungry again. I want to eat. I want to be sustained. I want to get full. I want to do it at a very good price. I want the food to taste good, and then I want to leave. I don't care about you twerking over my orange juice. I don't care if you got a DJ in here. I don't care about any of that. All of that is aesthetics. When I go to a restaurant,
now that's what I don't
want to eat.
I don't want to go to a restaurant and you twerking at the table beside me.
That's what they doing at the brunches.
I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah. If I come out for that, then I'm coming out for that. I ain't coming out for the food.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you're going out for.
Yeah. And for those of you that are going to be going out in Jackson, Mississippi, November 24th, make sure that you're at Center Stage Event Center. All right. Debate night is going down November the 24th, Black Friday, 8 p.m. All right. You're going to come out. You're going to get to see according to Kaz and Queen. You're going to get to see the Vibe Controllers. You get to see Melanie Sanders. You get to see Pia. We're going to be on stage talking that grown folks talk, libations, live music. It's Jackson's first socially interactive, in-person experience for grown folks to talk about relationships, to talk about dating, to talk about love, sex, all of that good stuff from all of the different perspectives. Of course, the two of us will be there. According to Kaz, will be there representing, the seasoned married couple. The Vibe Controllers are both dating gentlemen. Melanie and Pia are dating single ladies with their own experiences of having been engaged and married. And we're going to be talking that candid talk. It's going to be some good stuff for those of you that have come to the Love and Life panels that we have done, that Kaz and Queen have done. It's kind of taking that and putting it on steroids a little bit. And we're adding some accoutrements and all kinds of stuff to it, man. So make sure that y'all come out and check that out. Make sure that y'all are there. And next week on this very show, the entire debate night gang is going to be here on According to Kaz and Queen, and we're going to be talking some of that talk. So y'all got to make sure y'all tune in next week and check it out. And then the next, then I guess, well, actually the day before, you can catch us on the Vibe Controllers page. We'll be going live. You know, the promo is out of sight. It's out of here. It's all over the place. Make sure you're checking it out. Make sure you're coming out and checking out this event and support different things, cool things, innovative things that are happening in your city, wherever that city might be. We're in Jackson, Mississippi, but wherever you are, make sure you do that as well and continue to support us on this podcast journey of ours. We are in season 3, and we have been enjoying the feedback, and we appreciate you guys continuing to support. And again, shouts out to everybody that voted today. Make sure you keep up. Make sure you keep up that energy. Let's change the narrative about the state of Mississippi. All right. So, but anyway, for According to Kaz and Queen, I am Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And this is According to Kaz and Queen. We're going to see you guys next time. All right. Peace about.
Peace.